School. So as you know, this week you have choices about which particular lesson you want to do. I know some of you really like to work on your drawing skills, others of you like to work a little more abstractly. So this is how to work on the Victor Vasarely lesson, who is the op artist. There's a document in your assignment that you can scroll through and see more about his artwork. He's one of the most well-known op artists, and as you can see, he came up with this image, which really plays around with like how our eyes see and can be a little almost painful to look at. So you can create your own Victor Vasarely art this week, inspired by him. You could, if you feel adventurous, you could choose one of the other images that I put on your assignment to try to recreate. I'm just going to show you how to do this one because I feel like it's the simplest of all of them. So as to not drive yourself crazy, you want to take a regular sheet of paper, and I would cut it in half because I did this and it took a while and I was like, maybe it could have been smaller. If you want to make it nice and big, you can. So I'm going to just cut this in half. And this is definitely a time you're going to need a ruler. And so, this ruler is, I'm going to use a different ruler. This other ruler has been through a lot. I'm going to use my blue ruler. And so you want to make sure you indent a little bit. So I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch at this corner and a 1/2 inch at that corner. And I'm going to make borders that way. So I made one line. I'm going to measure a 1/2 inch again and a 1/2 inch again. And a 1/2 inch down here, so I make sure this line is going to be straight. 1/2 inch down here, and this is just going to help it be centered. And obviously you can see that the edges of my paper are a little crooked, but that's okay. I'm sure yours won't be. And so we have our 1/2 inch margin all around the sides. And what this basically is at first is a grid of really straight lines. And so what you're going to want to do, you can see that I'm starting at 0. I'm going down to about 5 inches. And every 1/4 inch, I'm going to make a little line. And I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. Every 1/4 inch. Oops, that was actually an 1/8 of an inch there. And that will help me get these lines nice and straight. This is good practice for all different types of art where it's really important to know how to measure and set a grid up clearly. So then I can just I'm going to connect this 1/4 inch to this 1/4 inch, and I should get a series of really nice straight lines, all about the same width. And so you would keep going down, and then in the middle of your paper, so this is about 8 inches, I'm going to measure to 4. Very lightly, you want to draw this center line. That's going to help you get your kind of ellipse in the right place. So then, very lightly, I'm going to make an ellipse that sort of looks equal on either side of my center line. This just helps me get that nice and rounded. But then you're going to erase your center line. And notice I drew my ellipse in pretty lightly because I don't really want to see the pencil lines where I'm going to switch back and forth. So what this image is, even though it kind of looks like it's moving and all the things that it's doing is it's really, and this orb, you do basically this whole line dark, but when you get to the ellipse, you switch, you leave that light. So I'm going to leave this light. And you want to go all in one direction so it comes out looking nice and neat. You can use a marker. You can do this in black and white. I kind of played around to see what would happen if I did it in color. So when I go down to the next line, I'm going to switch that order. So whenever I'm inside the ellipse, it's going to be the reverse of the color of the other line. So it's actually a fairly simple thing that he's doing there, but it is creating a fun piece of op art. So you can do that in marker, you can do it in pencil, you can try it in color. So here's one where I tried it in color. It doesn't quite do the same thing in color that it was doing in black and white. I was using orange I was using red and, yes, I was using red and yellow, and contrast is the most important part. So I think that if I had left white there, it would be jumping around a little more. I was interested to see if my eye would mix the red and the yellow to create kind of this effect of orange. I'm also going to experiment to see, I'm just curious what happens if I add complementary colors to this, to see what my eye does there. So you could work with two complements. You could work with black and white. You could work with one color and white. And I'm going to work on this one a little more, and it might take me a while. I'll put a picture of it on your lesson. We'll see what happens when I use complements. I have a feeling complements might do the same thing, or it might do something else kind of interesting. So play around with it, see what you come up with, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you make.